Welcome to Charlie's Chat Show, the British countryside at home, and I really think I'm getting into my stride now. I am talking to a fabulous ferreter, a big game hunter with a man cave and a bunch of flowers, a couple of troubled traders and an angry Australian. First, here's a shooting ground who's added a little bit extra to their Thursday night clap for carers. That's where everybody stands on their doorstep at 8 PM on Thursdays and claps for our carers. To get themselves heard in the wilds of Sutherland, Highland Shooting Centre outside Snowy Leg added gun claps for carers. That's family members Marcus, Jesse and Hamish Munro doing the shooting and mum Annie Rose doing the filming. Now for the rest of Shooting Sports, and BASC has pushed the 2020 year of the gamekeeper to 2020 and 2021 to give it enough time to raise funds for gamekeepers. Here is BASC's head of media, Garry Doolan.
Ultimately, it's important that the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust continue to get the support from BASC and from other people, and they continue to get the donations in. Because they can't, they need those donations to survive, and the work they're doing at the moment is remarkable, really. They are an absolute first point of call for gamekeepers, not just the people on the bigger shoots, but the solo gamekeepers who are working alone and isolated anyway. This is a difficult time. It's a key time of the year, so any sort of help that we can give them, and any help that the shoot community can give them is genuinely greatly appreciated, and I know that. So, but go to our website, have a look at the blog. And it's the same blog that we're putting all the latest information about coronavirus. So we've linked to the new GLs for stoat trapping, and the information around firearms. We're updating the firearms information on a daily basis. So as the force has changed the information, we're putting it up there. We're updating our advice about when people should go out and how they should go out. And we're using it as a bit of a hub, really, for everything coronavirus related. We are all working from home now. All our regions are working from home, but we're continuing to update this information and try to keep it as business as usual as best we can, really.
Gamekeepers really need those funds, thanks in part to the Scottish Government playing nasty and leaving gamekeepers out of the financial support it is offering at the moment. Here's a plea that went on Facebook about the Trust.
Good afternoon, my name is Raymond Holt and I'm a gamekeeper from Northumberland. I'm also a trustee with the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust.
And there is a link to the full video in the description below. Now, Garry has also instigated the 6-ball challenge, a dog steadiness test you can do at home. You throw 6 balls around your dog, which does not attempt to retrieve any of them until your command. And his video is doing well on Twitter.
I think I'll have that. Okay.
It's already provoked this response.
This is my current dog, Benji. Think I'll take that.
Yeah, that's not a real dog. Now, stuck at home as we are, how are we taking our mind off things? Our man with a rucksack and a rifle, Tim Pilbeam, explains what he's up to. Tim, everybody imagines you are a kind of wonderful, gadabout, eccentric trillionaire who just goes from exotic hunting location to exotic hunting location. But, I mean, in real life, how is Pilbeam coping with the situation?
Wow. Okay. I probably deal with this in two areas. I have my farm, which is a bit of a disaster anyway. But from one of my other businesses, where I've got about 10 members of staff, it probably has been the most stressful. Okay, this week, but last 2 weeks, going through the whole coronavirus thing, lockdowns. It's been probably one of the most stressful 2 weeks of my business career, perhaps, and it's basically because we haven't got a clue as to what was meant to be happening and what's going to happen. So as a business leader, you like to say to your staff, yeah, we are going to go that way, and when you as a business leader go, oh, I don't know which way we can go, it's been quite stressful. And going through, when the virus kind of reared its ugly head, I did what we call a business continuity plan, where you look at the risk. You look at actually what effect it has on your business, the impact, and then you actually work out a strategy around it. Then you say, right, let's crack on. Well, I went from a business continuity plan to a disaster recovery plan in 12 hours. So I've gone from the best case scenario to the worst in 12 hours. And it was like, that's basically reality. We've all had to do that. So we've had to completely rethink our businesses, and it's all about burning cash. So if you're in business and you're shut up shop like my other businesses, we haven't traded for 10 days, we are bleeding lots of cash. So it's all about cash, and it's all about being here in 3 or 6 months' time. That's all your focus is going to be now. So that's my kind of retail side of it, commercial side. On the farm, we know that farmers were always like moaning, but we went through a very, very wet winter, very wet spring, and it's gone from being very, very wet to very, very dry in about 4 weeks. So we're putting lots of spring crops in, and we were hitting them very hard for a start and getting stuck in the fields. And now we're still at it, and it's like a battlefield out there. We've got machinery being shaken apart because we're on Sussex clay and it's hard old stuff. So all these easterly winds blowing and being really quite dry, it's gone from plasticine to rock. So you can't win, and apparently now they're forecasting no rain for the next 2 weeks. So all the spring crops we put in the ground probably won't grow anyway. So that's farming for you. So we've had a bit of a rough old year. So most farmers will be suffering. So, but I like moaning because I'm a farmer.
Okay, well, let's take your mind off that. Now, we're all stuck at home. What are you doing? Because you famously said, this is one of my favourite Pilbeam quotes, the man who dies with the most toys wins. So talk to me about your toys.
Oh, Charlie. Just don't tell the wife. Yeah. So that famous saying actually came from a very good mate of mine called Matt Marples, a mutual friend of ours. And he's got lots of toys in his tool chest anyway, so that's a bit of a phrase I often use. But yeah, so what am I doing at home? It's an interesting time of year because I'm very lucky. Obviously I'm a farmer, so I have space around me. You know, I haven't just got the garden, so I'm able to actually do a lot of things which most people can't do. So I'm very privileged and I'm very thankful for that. So once again, us moaning on farmers complaining about farming. Now perhaps farming is not that bad compared to other businesses, but anyway. So yeah, so I'm in my gun shed. This is what you can see around me. I can swing around a bit and you can see it all there. I'm just in my gun shed, and now is a good time to actually sort my gun shed out because it's an absolute mess at the moment, and I've been very busy doing other things over the winter, so it is a complete, it's dreadful. It's a pigsty. It reminds you of my my room when I was at school, perhaps, like yours, Charlie. It was a pigsty anyway. So.
What do you mean? This is behind me is a model of organisation. Apart from practicing, apart from tidying up, I can see the word man cave up above you. Have you got any projects you would like to achieve? So the next couple of weeks, would you like to have said to yourself, I have done this thing, whether it is tie a particular kind of fly or, you know, construct a particular kind of metal target or something like that?
Interesting. That's a very interesting point, actually. In my business group, we were talking about that. So what are we going to do for the next 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 3 months? I don't know, whatever, how long we'll be in lockdown. So it is the time and to actually start revisiting all those things perhaps you should be doing, or perhaps learn a few things. I've got a few mates learning ukuleles, one person learning the saxophone, another person's going to Open University and learning about AI, artificial intelligence. For me personally, I wanted to I don't know if I will do it. I want to actually, I've got a clarinet in home in the house which I haven't used for many years. I would love to do that, but and also I want to learn more about the internet. I want to learn about, especially for my other business. I was on Google Analytics yesterday. I've got my social media guru Meredith, who we share. She does a lot of work for me. I've got SEO guys working for me as well. And actually, normally I just here's £500 and go forth and do your bit. But I think going forward, I need to understand a bit more about that. So perhaps it's the time to sit back and actually understand a bit more about business. So that's for my business head. I just need to know a bit more about that, because there's no two ways about it that business, or the way we interact, or the way the social media interacts in our lives will completely change. People will be spending a lot more time at home doing things, working from home. And actually, before I go, Charlie, it's just a thing which I think is quite poignant at the moment. Is that I was walking down the bottom of the farm. I've got some work going on down the bottom of the farm, and actually, we got a lot of primroses on the farm at the moment. It's a beautiful time of year. The bluebells will be out very shortly, but I've got my primroses here, and I thought actually, this is to all the NHS staff, the support staff, from everyone in the hospitals to the guys picking my bin up outside, or everybody out there, even my local shop, looking after those people who in need. Actually, this is to you guys. This is what it's all about. Life's got to go on.
It certainly does, Tim. Thank you. Another man with time on his hands is Simon Whitehead, the ferreter, who you probably know from game fairs and country shows around the UK, but obviously not this summer.
Sort of never been busier, Charlie. I've utilised it. I'm getting all the lists done around the house because I've just moved again. So I'm now in North Yorkshire. I'm doing a lot more filming and camera work just around the farm, just taking footage, and stuff. I'm writing 1, possibly 2 books in this now. So I'm using my time to write books. I'm still doing my pieces for the Shooting Times and Countryman's Weekly. And just trying to get my website going and trying to get more experience days booked for the winter, if, all being well. And I'm utilising the time. I'm in the gym 3-4 times a week in the house. We built a little gym. So, and the dog's Tony's due in 2 weeks. She's having a litter of pups. So I'm making the most. I'm not making the most of it because it is a horrible time, but we're making the most of it to keep the spirits up, keeping positive, looking forward, and just carry on smiling, which is quite bizarre for people to see me smile.
I just spoke to Tim Pilbeam, and he says one of the things he's doing is all the stuff that he's been sold over the last couple of years that he doesn't really understand. He's now trying to take the time to understand it, whether that's guns or search engine optimization or whatever it is. He now realizes he has 2 weeks to really get into it.
Yeah, I mean how, because we're in I'm living in a farmhouse on the top of the North Yorkshire Moors, so we're fairly isolated, so we don't feel it as much as if you were in a town or a flat or wherever, because we can still walk for miles on the fields with the dogs and still go out rabbiting if I want to. I can go out, and I've been testing some steel shot on rabbits. It's not, we're not as restricted, and confined, but it's a bizarre situation. And yeah, we're just getting, I'm like Tim, I'm going to make the most of getting my head around websites and get this writing done. And because normally I wouldn't have the time to do it, because I'm meant to be in Ireland next week doing 3 days of talks on rabbit control to pest controllers. Well, that's not happening. So, I'm going to make the most of the time and, practice a smile of mine.
Thank you, Simon. Now, of course, businesses are having a hard time, and gun shops and gun distributors and gun makers among them. I spoke to Frederic Hanner from Blaser and started by asking him if he's doing anything creative to make sales happen.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the thing with the dealers, that is a big problem for us, that the dealers are being closed and guns can't be written onto the tickets. We're still here at the office. We're doing accessory sales and so on. I think you need to be a bit creative, to be fair, at the moment. So with our dealers, we've spoken to them. So if they're selling accessories via the phone, via online or so on, they don't have it. Maybe their shop's closed. They can't accept the goods. We are shipping them out directly to the end customers from us here, from our warehouse. Sending the invoices over to the dealers for that, obviously. So just trying to cooperate as much as we can with our dealers and make any business possible that is out there at the moment. I mean, people are at home, people are online shopping. Again, speaking about our awesome new shooting sticks, we have a delivery coming in today into the UK, so we'll have plenty of supply for everyone, and we'll be shipping them out to the dealers who are open to receiving stuff, or to the end customers who have bought them from our dealers. So whatever is possible, we'll make it happen.
I mean, some of the dealers around here, they're effectively closed, but they will arrange to leave stuff outside their door for you to come and collect. I mean, obviously not guns propped up against the door, but you can do that kind of doorway sale at the moment. Are you finding people doing that?
Absolutely. I mean, some of the, especially accessories, a lot of people ship. Then I've heard that quite a few dealers are doing ammunition for kind of agricultural pest control reasons. And again, that kind of ticket is being shoved through the letterbox. Ammo's written on there, and somebody else puts the ammo in front of the door after it's on the ticket, and then somebody can come in again close to the door and collect it. So 100% that is fine. And then, I mean, some of our dealers are for example, selling animal feeds as well, and they are regarded as essential, and they are open anyway in their shop, so they can do business as before. Obviously, everyone I speak to is concerned. Everyone is taking hygiene very, very serious, and I haven't heard of anyone just kind of breaking the rules and still just selling anyway. So that's something we absolutely hear, and which I think is great that everyone is adhering, and so are we. I mean, we kind of do our our shipments. We get them ready into the loading bay, close the doors, get the postman to kind of pick it up after it's all been labeled, and then we get electronic confirmation from him, which is fantastic.
Well done, that clever plug for Blaser Shooting Sticks, Frederic. Now, one of the retailers he's talking about is John Bailey of Bailey's Shooting and Countrywear in Cannock in Staffordshire. Is he doing doorway sales like Frederic describes?
It's not something I've thought about doing as yet. I may in the future do appointment only collections on ammunition and cartridges, etc. But at the minute, because we're part of a shopping centre in general, we're on complete close down in here. So the only reason I come in is to check security, and if I've got items in the shop that I can post out for the online order side of thing, then I come in and process it and send it out the door. So
Online is working okay, is it?
online's going okay. It's a lot quieter than normal, but I think that's mainly down to the fact that people are obviously worried about money, because with what's going on, people being out of work, people being laid off, and people not knowing when they're going to be getting their assistance from these government payouts and whatnot. So I think people are just a bit tighter on the purse strings at the minute, but we're still getting a steady trickle of sales through the website, which to be honest really helps. So it's not too bad.
Is your landlord being nice to you?
We've had no relief from the landlord. We still had the invoice through for the rent, so we've got to pay that. We are looking at the small business grants that they're giving out to the small businesses that are on rate relief and everything else, because we're in the lucky position that we don't pay rates inside this shopping centre, or a lot of the people on the high street here don't either because of the area. So yeah, fingers crossed we'll be able to get that grant, and that'll obviously we should be all right, but it'll definitely help with regards to keeping on top of everything, all of the outgoings for the shop, as it were. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Thank you, John, and good luck. Now, it may be bad for the UK gun trade, but it has got a lot worse in Australia, where the government has ordered gun shops to close. Rob Fickling runs the Beyond the Divide TV show in Australia, and this is his reaction.
I hate to sound a bit Texan here, but it's more about your freedom and your rights and everything like that. You know, no one else has been targeted anywhere in the country under these rules. No specific, group, and their reasoning behind it is that there's been an escalation in buying in the last couple of weeks with firearms and ammunition and the number of permits. But we've been thrown some, as is everyone, we've been thrown some pretty massive price rises across the board on ammunitions and firearms that all the retailers the distributors have passed on, mainly due to the dollar. So we're all aware that the prices are going up, so most people have just bought accordingly. But the police seem to think that, in a highly regulated, screened, we have firearms registration here. To get a firearm in Australia, you have to apply for your licence. You have to be a fit and proper person, mentally, physically. You have to pass your test. You have to pass your firearm safety test. You have to have adequate storage. The firearm has to be separated and everything is stored in a safe and locked down. We're one of the most highly regulated, streamed, and and it's registered. It's registered as well. All our firearms are registered. So to claim that it's because of some potential violence is ridiculous.
Do you think they think that you want to start a revolution despite all that regulation?
Oh, no, I doubt that. But it's claimed against potential increase in family violence and the potentially the greater number of guns suddenly coming into people's hands could fall into criminals. I mean, the system's still the same. How can a gun fall into the hands of a criminal tomorrow as opposed to last week? The system's still exactly the same. So, yeah, we're feeling pretty, discriminated against and feeling pretty violated, in this free country of ours.
And what is this going to mean for, people who use guns in their day-to-day, like pest control, farming? What was going to mean for them?
Apparently pest controllers, it doesn't apply to licensed pest controllers and primary producers. So there's a caveat there, yeah.
Well, we got a problem here because, I mean, in a way, there is a blurring of the line between, we know what a professional pest controller is. We don't have a licensing system for them as such, but we have a lot of people who sit out and shoot pigeons as a service to farmers, which they enjoy doing, and it's kind of a job, but it's also recreation, so that's not happening at the moment. Are you facing the same problem with that line blurring?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah. Lots of people carry out, pest control duties on behalf of farmers, as you say, as recreational hunters, and that's a valuable, asset to this country. And as you say, it's part of our enjoyment and part of our lifestyle as well, carrying on this. And some people ascertain a sort of side income from it and take meat to processors and to knackeries and pet food processing and things like that. You have to be licensed to do that, of course, but so those guys would seem to be exempt. But yeah, there's a lot of recreational shooters that contribute to pest management, and that's now been stopped.
Is there going to be any chance of saving anything of, for example, the duck season?
Yeah, well, the duck season's still another month out, so we're hanging on to hopes for that. It's really the travel. Our forests are still open, so we can hunt, on public land, and we can hunt on our game reserves, which are open to public hunting. We're very lucky here, but it's the travel restriction and the socialisation that's obviously it's hamstringing us there. So. Yeah, there's definitely a positive future for people that live in rural areas and very close walking distance to forests, for example. They can still hunt, and on their own property they can still hunt, of course. So they're the lucky ones. We have open in Victoria and a lot of New South Wales. We have public land hunting 365 days a year in our state forest. So we're not going to miss any kind of season, if you like, on that front. Hog deer season is only 1 month, so it looks like it's gone. Duck season and quail season's due to open on Friday. That's 2 months, and so we might scrape some of that back, and then hound hunting season is due to start after Easter as well, but that will also go. But that runs right through till September, October, so that's a positive. So our stalking on public land, our hounds, and perhaps some of our duck season and perhaps some of our quail season can be saved if this can pass, in due course. I don't know, within a month or two. But we all, like you, I suppose, we don't know just how long the run is that we're in for with this.
That is it for this week. This programme was brought to you by the Fieldsports Nation, our happy group of backers, and you can join them if you like. Go to the link in the description below. I'm back on Tuesday with my vlog just for the Fieldsports Nation, and of course Fieldsports Britain is at 7 PM UK time on Wednesdays. I'll see you then. Until then, please stay well.